They told us to be patient. We were patient in 1865 when they gave us freedom with one hand and snatched it back with the other. We were patient in 1896 when Plessy said separate but equal and meant neither. We were patient through poll taxes and literacy tests designed by people who knew we could read just fine. They just didn't want us to read the ballot. We were patient through grandfather clauses and white primaries and registrars who lost our paperwork on purpose. We were patient through fire hoses and billy clubs in the Edmund Pettus Bridge on a Sunday afternoon in March when the only thing our people carried was courage and the ground came up to meet them anyway. We have been patient long enough. Let us be clear about what the vote is. The vote is not a privilege. The vote is not a gift from a gracious government. The vote is not something they give you when they decide you've earned it. The vote is the foundation. It is the lever that moves every other fight. For wages, for health care, for housing, for the air our children breathe, and the water they drink. Without the vote, we are not citizens. We are subjects. And we did not come this far to be anybody's subjects. In 1965, after years of marching and bleeding and burying our dead, this nation passed the Voting Rights Act. It was not given. It was extracted, pulled from the conscience of a country that had run out of excuses. John Lewis bled for it on that bridge. Amelia Boynton was beaten unconscious for it. Jimmy Lee Jackson was shot in the stomach for it, in a church protecting his mother. People whose names we will never know gave everything they had so that we can walk into a polling place and be counted as full human beings. And then, in 2013, 5 members of the Supreme Court looked at that history, looked at that blood, and decided that the work was done. In Shelby County versus Holder, they gutted the heart of the Voting Rights Act and told us with straight faces that we no longer needed protection because things had gotten so much better. They lied. Things did not get better. The methods got quieter, more sophisticated, more lawyerly. But the intent, the cold, deliberate intent to decide whose voice counts and whose doesn't, that intent never left the room. They closed polling places in our neighborhoods and called it budget efficiency. They purge our names from the voter rolls and call it list maintenance. They draw district lines like surgeons, precise, calculated cuts designed to dilute our power before we ever cast a vote and call it geography. They pass voter ID laws that require documents our grandmothers never needed and call it security. They cut early voting hours, eliminate Sunday voting, restrict mail-in ballots, and then look us in the eye and say every eligible American can vote. Eligible. That word is doing a lot of work, isn't it? Because they have spent decades engineering eligibility, felony disenfranchisement, strips the vote from millions, disproportionately Black and brown men, for offenses they have already served time for, in a country that claims to believe in second chances, except the second chance doesn't include a voice, except redemption stops at the polling place door. They gerrymander our communities into irrelevance and then tell us to work within the system. What system? The one they redesigned the night after we started winning. This is not incompetence. This is architecture. Someone drew these maps. Someone passed these laws. Someone calculated exactly how many polling places to close and which zip codes. And they did it because they are afraid of us. They have always been afraid of what happens when all of us show up. So let us talk about showing up. John Lewis used to say that the vote is precious, almost sacred. He was right. But sacred things require defenders. Sacred things require people willing to stand in the gap when the wolves come dressed as legislators, as judges, as concerned citizens filing lawsuits against ballot drop boxes. We are those defenders. Every single one of us standing here today. We are the descendants of people who were told their humanity was debatable. We are the children of people who stood in lines that stretched around the block, not for concert tickets, not for the latest phone, but for the right to matter in their own country. We are the inheritors of a struggle that was never supposed to reach us because it was supposed to have been finished by now. It is not finished. And so we finish it. We demand the full restoration of the Voting Rights Act, not a watered down version, not a compromise designed to make our opponents comfortable, but the full unapologetic restoration of pre-clearance, of federal oversight, of the protection that was paid for in blood and ripped away by a court that confused the absence of fire hoses with the presence of justice. We demand automatic voter registration, that every eligible citizen in this country be registered the moment they interact with any government agency. No forms to chase down, no deadlines designed to trip you up, no system that punishes people for not knowing the rules of a game designed to exclude them. We demand that Election Day be a federal holiday, because the right to vote should not have to compete with the right to keep your job, because standing in line for 6 hours is only noble when you can afford the time. We demand the end of partisan gerrymandering, independent redistricting, commissions in every state, with maps drawn for communities, not for incumbents. If your party cannot win without drawing the district yourself, you do not deserve to win. We demand the restoration of voting rights for every person who has served their time, because if this country truly believes in rehabilitation, then rehabilitation must include citizenship. A debt paid is a debt paid, full stop. We demand paper trails, audible systems, and election infrastructure that is updated, because the same country that can track a package from a warehouse to your front door in real time can build an election system that people trust. We know they will call this radical. We know they will say we are asking for too much, moving too fast, being too loud. Well, good. They called John Lewis radical. They called Fannie Lou Hamer radical. They called Barbara Jordan radical. They called every person who ever stood up and said, this is not right and we will not accept it, radical. Right up until history proved them correct, and the people who called them radical quietly disappeared from their own story. We are not interested in being comfortable. We are interested in being counted. And to every young person here today, every first-time voter, every person who has been told their vote doesn't matter, every person who looked at the system and decided it wasn't worth the effort, I need you to hear this. That feeling of futility, they manufactured it. It is a product. It was engineered by people who did the math and figured out that if they can make you feel powerless, you would do their work for them. Apathy is not a feeling. Apathy is a weapon aimed directly at you. Your vote is not symbolic. Your vote is structural. It is the difference between a school board that bans books and one that buys them. It is the difference between a prosecutor who sends children to adult prisons and one who doesn't. It is the difference between a legislature that draws maps to erase you and one that is legally required to count you. They are afraid of your vote. Prove them they were right to be. We are not here because it is convenient. We are here because it is necessary. We are here because somewhere, right now, a county election board is meeting to decide how many polling places your neighborhood gets. We are here because somewhere a legislature is drafting a bill that will make it harder for your grandmother to vote in the next election. We are here because the people who benefit from our silence are counting on us to stay home, stay tired, stay overwhelmed, and stay quiet. We are not quiet. We have never been quiet. They just stopped listening for a while and confused our silence for surrender. It was never surrender. It was preparation. This is what we know. Every time in the history of this country that we have shown up fully, when we organized, when we marched, when we registered, when we voted in numbers too large to suppress, things changed. Not perfectly, not fast enough, but they changed. The arc bent. The door cracked open. We are here to blow it off its hinges. The vote is not a privilege. The vote is not a gift. The vote is the one tool this system gave us that, when we use it together, it cannot fully control. So we are going to use it. All of us. Loudly, repeatedly, and without apology. We are going to register every neighbor, every cousin, every coworker who has given up. We are going to drive people to the polls and stand in line with them. We are going to know our rights, record any violation, and refuse to be turned away without a fight. We are going to make them count, every single one of us, because we are not asking for the ballot anymore. We are taking it back. John Lewis is gone. Fannie Lou Hamer is gone. Medgar Evers is gone. But the work they gave to their lives is still here. The unfinished work is still here. And we are still here. And that means the baton did not drop. It passed. It passed to us. And we will not fumble it. We will not set it down because we are tired. We will not trade it away because we are comfortable. We will carry it across every district, every precinct, every polling place, until the promise of this country finally catches up with the price that was paid for it. The vote is ours. It always was. Now, let's go take it back. And I will end with a quote from Brother John Lewis. Do not get lost in a sea of despair. Be hopeful. Be optimistic. Our struggle is not the struggle of a day, a week, a month, or a year. It is the struggle of a lifetime.